Hey everyone, Brian from Variable Traders here. It is the weekend, April 5th, and it was a crazy week in the markets, wasn't it? So let's get down. We'll look at what happened last week, and then we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming up. No doubt more volatility. So let's get down and take a look at what happened. All right, so a quick review of what happened last week in the markets. We saw an epic sell-off here this week, basically on the news of the reciprocal tariffs, which were much more severe than what anybody had anticipated or expected. Really, the selling started in earnest Wednesday night, continued Thursday morning, and then again Friday as China responded with their own tariffs of 34% on U.S. goods. So trade war definitely looks like it's starting, and more concerns about a widespread economic slowdown, possible recession. So lots of fear in the market right now for sure. And as you can see, that's reflected in all the indexes, down 9-10%. Dow only down 8%. So anyway, consumer defensives and utilities, there was no sector spared. They were the smallest losers on the week. Technology and energy were the biggest losers by far. I think there was also some news out of OPEC increasing production, so that didn't help energy at all after energy's been leaving the way for a couple weeks. So 2-year treasury, huge drop. That is a big drop for treasuries in a single week, and both on the 2-year and the 10-year. Again, bond market, treasury market are sort of factoring in possibility of a recession and need for lower rates. US dollar commensurately was down with the yields. And again, we kind of went out the week flat on Bitcoin. Again, it's been hanging around this 84,000 level for what seems like a long time. I think it's down a bit this morning. We'll take a look at that in a few minutes. So that was your week in review, and it was a wild one. So a quick pause here to mention my books available on Amazon in all 3 versions, audio, electronic, and hard copy. So it has been a difficult week or two to trade as swing trader or longer term trader, but definitely are there going to be some opportunities in the future for sure, and we just have to be aware of what's happening and grab those opportunities when we see them. So no time like now to get educated on that. And of course, I've been trading a lot of options this week, and I'm actually holding a few options over the weekend. So if you're a trader already and you're interested in looking at options, there's an options book there as well. So check them out. Okay, so looking at some of our indexes here, we'll start out with the 2-year and the 10-year. You can see here we've really leaked off here this week. Yields have really dropped. Bond prices have come up quite a bit. And again, just a reflection of concern in the bond and treasuries markets about possibility of a looming recession. And you can see here we did come off quite a bit on the lows on Friday on the treasury yields on the 2-year, and same with the 10-year, kind of bounced back a bit. So, but definitely back into an area here where we've had some support before, and yeah, we'll see where things go from there. But you can see here the Dow. I mean, the announcement of the tariffs Thursday, not great. And then Friday with the reciprocal tariffs and just a lot of negative sentiment in the market. And we sold off hard. We went very close to a low of the day on Friday. So, and we are getting a little bit oversold here on RSI. Some of the stochastics looking a little oversold here. But, I think we still got a lot more downside. Here we are on the weekly. We're getting down to an area where there should be some support here, somewhere around 38,000. Again, if we lose that level, I mean, we could come down to, 35.5 here on the Dow. Same story with the Qs. I mean, I'm not going to keep repeating myself here. Every index is probably going to look the same. And we are looking at sort of coming into an area where we're close to some support, maybe 420, 410, somewhere in this area on the SPY. Same with the weekly, really disaster. Again, same with the SPY here. Look, we're down into an area where there could be some support. And the IWM, again, IWM really performing the worst. I mean, we haven't, this was the high back at the end of the year. at the beginning, yeah, beginning of December actually, and it's really has not performed very well at all. And of course, we really sold off, came back quite a bit on Friday, get back some of those losses. Didn't, at least at the very least, you can say we didn't go out at the low of the day on Friday on the IWM. But again, quite oversold on the stochastics and RSI. So maybe time for a little bit of a bounce if we don't get more bad news, which I kind of feel like I don't know how much it can get worse. I was saying in the room on Friday, we've had, kind of had a lot of tariff news. And sometimes the market, after, you get a first couple of hits on, the negative, then additional bad news is kind of, it feels like, oh yeah, we've heard this story before, kind of done on that. And so it has a sort of a diminishing impact. Here's the dollar. Dollar came back up after really getting hit on Thursday, came back up a little bit, still finished down on the week because the yields were down, of course. And Bitcoin now trading around under 83,000. But you can see here we've really been stuck in this range for quite some time, this sort of 87 to 80 range. And we dipped down here once about a month ago and came right back up. So we could still be heading down to this moving average, but we'll see what happens next week. But it held up pretty well given the market sell-off. So it didn't really, if you look at Thursday and Friday, we really didn't move much, despite the fact that we were down quite a bit Thursday, Friday. So Bitcoin kind of hanging in there right now. And that's it for the index. Okay, so if you checked out my video last week, you know I had very little trades on during swing trades on during the week. I just felt there was way too much headline risk, and if he had come out with some tariffs, if White had to come out with some tariffs that were better than expected, I mean, we could have seen a rally the other way. So it was just a crapshoot as to how things were going to turn out. As, of course, if I'd have known they were going to be worse than expected, could have shorted things, but that's all hindsight. So as far as active trades for this week, on Friday, I kind of threw on a bit of a options trade here. I bought the 520 calls and sold 530 puts above it. So this is a bit of a call. It's a call spread. Betting we're going to get a little bit of a bounce here on Monday after this really severe sell-off, and I'm hoping maybe we'll get some conciliatory or some kind of positive news on tariffs over the weekend, given the sell-off. But anyway, not holding my the breath on that one. Again, it's not a big position; it's a very small position, but this is playing for maybe a little bit of a bounce, an oversold bounce here for early next week. And you can see here, again, we're kind of down in an area where I would expect to see some support here and maybe a bit of a bounce. So that's the only swing trade I've got on right now. Unfortunately, I do have some long-term investments that really obviously took a bit of a hit today. They're more conservative, so not down 10%, but certainly I'm a lot less wealthier today than I was a week ago, or even on Wednesday for that matter. So that's the way the markets are. Okay, so here are some potential trades that I am looking at, stocks that I am looking at for next week. Again, I remain very cautious in stepping into this market because you just don't know where the bottom is going to end up. We did have some pretty high volume on Thursday and Friday, huge often a sign of capitulation. You can see here, here's a big sell-off volume candle as well. Then we had a bit of a turnaround. So again, maybe some potential for some bounces next week. But again, I would say that rallies are considered suspect because really there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty still, a lot of concern now. Consumer sentiment has really dropped. Usually they stop buying when consumer sentiment is poor. So yeah, we just need to remain cautious. And I suspect when we start to get into earnings season, we're going to hear more cautious warnings from a lot of these CEOs, CFOs that come on. We'll have Delta Airlines on Wednesday morning. they've already mentioned, I believe, that they're seeing a softening in travel. Maybe the revenge travel phenomenon that happened after COVID is kind of winding down, and of course consumers pulling in their spending if they're not really sure if they're going to have a job or what the economy is going to look like. So anyway, Meta is what I'm looking at here. I'll be keeping an eye on. It's really gotten beaten up. Pretty reasonable valuation on Meta too. The only thing concern is, of course, when the economy goes soft, advertising tends to dry up. So maybe some of that is factored in. PLTR is just a Wall Street favorite, and I think if we do get some kind of a bounce, that's kind of thing that's going to come bouncing back as well here. And Tesla, really Tesla's is sort of trading in a range. If he does sort of leave the White House, then I think that will be, and there's some announcements to that effect that he's going to be moving on, then that might cause Tesla to rally, knowing that he maybe is sort of back paying more attention to the car company and not Doge. So there could be a possible rally there, which is what I think we saw here on Wednesday. So when that sort of news came out, but again, we're sort of stuck here under the 200-day moving average right now. So that'll be resistance. So those pretty much are the three I'm going to be watching next week. And other ones, of course, as we day trade, we'll look for other opportunities. So that's what I'm looking at for next week. Okay, so week of April the 7th, let's take a look ahead and see what we got coming up. There's your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, and IWM. We are down to areas that are pretty close to support here. And as far as economic events go, we do have CPI data that'll be coming out Thursday. That's definitely something to watch. We got the FOMC minutes on Wednesday at 2 p.m. That'll be another possible volatile event there, and consumer sentiment, which I expect to be pretty poor. That'll be happening during the market trading, so we'll be watching for that as well. As far as earnings go, well, we're getting into earnings season again. We got Levi in play on Monday. We got Delta Airlines on Wednesday before the market opens, and airlines have really been beaten up here. Some cautious guidance from some of the airlines already. Looking forward, saying things are looking a little bit weak. But then we really get into earnings here on Friday as we start hitting some of the financials, JPM, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, and then BlackRock. So we'll be launched into earnings season yet again. So it should be another interesting week and lots of stuff to keep things volatile. And finally, this is kind of my high-level assessment. Friday, we might have seen a bit of a capitulation day. Could see a bounce next week, possibly, especially if there's any kind of positive news about backing off on tariffs, although I'm not putting any money on that. But I would say all rallies, no matter how strong, should be considered to be suspect. Don't go chasing a rally thinking this is all over. But Wednesday, again, getting a look at FOMC, CPI, and PPI data Thursday, Friday. This sort of sell-off here, reminiscent of tech bubble, financial crisis, COVID events, they really happen like every 12, 15, 20 years, and this is we're on one now. So I expect more volatility next week. So that's where I think things are going next week. So it's going to be an interesting one for sure. Keep your powder dry for now, and we'll just keep an eye for possible bottoming on some of these sell-offs here. At least stop selling anyway. So that's it, everybody. I hope you're having a great weekend. I know you're probably, if you're looking at your 401ks or your retirement savings plans, they're not looking as good as they did last weekend. But, hopefully we'll get through this. And, and you can always come and join us. We'll be live on YouTube at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, as always, starting with our pre-market show and then going into trading the market open as we remain live on YouTube as well in the room for our members. So take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Things will get better as they always do. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And we'll see you Monday morning.